medium forward/long-range airliner. In 1977, U.S. carrier Eastern Airlines leased for A300s as an in-service trial. CEO Frank Borman was impressed that the A300 consumed 30% less fuel, even less than expected, than Eastern's fleet of L1011s. The A300 would replacing the aging DC-9s and 727-100s but in smaller numbers, while being a twinjet sized between the Tristas and 727-200s, and capable of operating from short runway airports with sufficient range from New York City to Miami. Borman proceeded to order 23 A300s, becoming the first U.S. customer for the type. This order is often cited as the point at which Airbus came to be seen as a serious competitor to the large American aircraft manufacturers Boeing and McDonnell Douglas. Aviation author John Bowen alleged that various concessions, such as loan guarantees from European governments and compensation payments, were a factor in the decision as well. Although the A300 was originally too large for Eastern's exiting routes, Airbus provided a fixed subsidy for a 57% load factor which decreased for every percent above that figure. The Eastern Airlines breakthrough was shortly followed by an order from Pan Am. From then on, the A300 family sold well, eventually reaching a total of 561 delivered aircraft. In December 1977, Aeroconda Colombia became the first Airbus operator in Latin America, leasing one Airbus A300B42C, named Ciudad de Barranquilla. During the late 1970s, Airbus adopted a so-called Silk Road strategy, targeting airlines in the Far East. As a result, the aircraft found particular favor with Asian airlines, being bought by Japan Air System, Korean Air, China Eastern Airlines, Thai Airways International, Singapore Airlines, Malaysia Airlines, Philippine Airlines, Garuda Indonesia, China Airlines, Pakistan International Airlines, Indian Airlines, Trans-Australia Airlines and many others. As Asia did not have restrictions similar to the FAA 60 minutes rule for twin-engine airliners which existed at the time, Asian Airlines used A300s for routes across the Bay of Bengal and South China Sea. In 1977, the A300B4 became the first ETOPS-compliant aircraft, qualifying for extended twin-engine operations over water, providing operators with more versatility in routing. In 1982, Garuda Indonesian Airways became the first airline to fly the A300B4200FFCC with the newly forward-facing crew cockpit concept, the world's first wide-body aircraft that only operated by two-man cockpit crew. By 1981, Airbus was growing rapidly, with over 400 aircraft sold to over 40 airlines. In 1989, Chinese operator China Eastern Airlines received its first A300. By 2006, the airline operated around 18 A300s, making it the largest operator of both the A300 and the A310 at that time. On the 31st of May, 2014, China Eastern officially retired the last A300-600 in its fleet, having begun drawing down the type in 2010. From 1997 to 2014, a single A300, designated A300-0G, was operated by the European Space Agency, ESA, Centre National d'Études Spatiales, CNES, and the German Aerospace Center, DLR, as a reduced gravity aircraft for conducting research into microgravity. The A300 is the largest aircraft to ever have been used in this capacity. A typical flight would last for 2.5 hours, enabling up to 30 parabolas to be performed per flight. By the 1990s, the A300 was being heavily promoted as a cargo freighter. The largest freight operator of the A300 is FedEx Express, which has 70 A300 aircraft in service as of September 2022. UPS Airlines also operates 52 freighter versions of the A300. The final version was the A300-600R and is rated for 180-minute tops. The A300 has enjoyed renewed interest in the second-hand market for conversion to freighters. Large numbers were being converted during the late 1990s. The freighter versions either new build A300-600S or converted ex-passenger A300-600S. A300B2S and B4S account for most of the world's freighter fleet after the Boeing 747 freighter. The A300 provided Airbus the experience of manufacturing and selling airliners competitively. The basic fuselage of the A300 was later stretched, A330 and A340, shortened, A310, or modified into derivatives. A 300-600 ST Beluga Super Transporter. In 2006, unit cost of an 600F was $105 million. In March 2006, Airbus announced the impending closure of the A300/A310 final assembly line, making them the first Airbus aircraft to be discontinued. The final production A300, an A300F freighter, performed its initial flight on the 18th of April, 2007, and was delivered to FedEx Express on the 12th of July, 2007. Airbus has announced a support package to keep A300S flying commercially. Airbus offers the A330-200F freighter as a replacement for the A300 cargo variants. The life of UP's fleet of 52 A300S, delivered from 2000 to 2006, will be extended to 2035 by a flight deck upgrade based around Honeywell Primus Epic Avionics, new displays and flight management system, FMS, improved weather radar, a central maintenance system, and a new version of the current enhanced ground proximity warning system. With a light usage of only 2 to 3 cycles per day, it will not reach the maximum number of cycles by then. The first modification will be made at Airbus Toulouse in 2019 and certified in 2020. As of July 2017, there are 211 A300S in service with 22 operators, with the largest operator being FedEx Express with 68 A300-600F aircraft. Variants, edit. A300B1, edit. The A300B1 was the first variant to take flight. It had a maximum takeoff weight, MTO, of 132 t, 291,000 pound, was 51 m, 167 feet, long and was powered by 2 General Electric CF6-50 engines. Only 2 prototypes of the variant were built before it was adapted into the A300B2, the first production variant of the airliner. The second prototype was leased to Trans-European Airways in 1974. A300B2, edit. A300B2-100, edit. Responding to a need for more seats from Air France, Airbus decided that the first production variant should be larger than the original prototype A300B1. The CF6-50 powered A300B2-100 was 2.6 m, 8.5 feet, longer than the A300B1 and had an increased MTO of 137 t, 302,000 pound, allowing for 30 additional seats and bringing the typical passenger count up to 281, with capacity for 20 LD3 containers. 2 prototypes were built and the variant made its maiden flight on the 28th of June, 1973. became certified on the 15th of March 1974 and entered service with Air France on the 23rd of May 1974. A300 B2-200, edit. For the A300 B2-200, originally designated as the A300 B2K, Kruger flaps were introduced at the leading edge route. The slat angles were reduced from 20 degrees to 16 degrees, and other lift-related changes were made in order to introduce a high-lift system. This was done to improve performance when operating at high-altitude airports, where the air is less dense and lift generation is reduced. The variant had an increased MTO of 142 t, 313,000 pound, and was powered by CF6-50C engines, was certified on the 23rd of June 1976, and entered service with South African Airways in November 1976. CF6-50C1 and CF6-50C2 models were also later fitted depending on customer requirements. These became certified on the 22nd of February 1978 and the 21st of February 1980 respectively. A300 B2-320, edit. The A300 B2-320 introduced the Pratt & Whitney JT9D power plant and was powered by JT9D 59er engines. It retained the 142 t, 313,000 pound, MTO of the B2-200, was certified on the 4th of January 1980, and entered service with Scandinavian Airlines on the 18th of February 1980, with only 4 being produced. Variant produced: B2-132, B2-225, B2-324. Source. Production figures are listed up to the 1st of January 1999. A300 B4, edit. A300 B4-100, edit. The initial A300 B4 variant, later named the A300 B4-100, included a center fuel tank for an increased fuel capacity of 47.5 tons, 105,000 pound, and had an increased MTO of 157.5 tons, 347,000 pound. It also featured Kruger flaps and had a similar high-lift system to what was later fitted to the A300 B2-200. The variant made its maiden flight on the 26th of December 1974, was certified on the 26th of March 1975, and entered service with German Air in May 1975. A300 B4-200, edit. The A300 B4-200 had an increased MTO of 165 tons, 364,000 pound, and featured an additional optional fuel tank in the rear cargo hold, which would reduce the cargo capacity by 2 LD3 containers. The variant was certified on the 26th of April 1979. Variant produced: B4-147, B4-200 136. Source. Production figures are listed up to the 1st of January 1999. A300 B4-200 FFCC, edit. It is the A300 B4-200 without the flight engineer but analog flight instruments. Introduced by Garuda Indonesian Airways in 1982. A300-600, edit. N14053 is the first Airbus A300-600 are produced. This aircraft would later crash in 2001 as American Airlines Flight 587. The A300-600, officially designated as the A300 B4-600, was slightly longer than the A300B2 and A300B4 variants and had an increased interior space from using a similar rear fuselage to the Airbus A310. This allowed it to have 2 additional rows of seats. It was initially powered by Pratt & Whitney JT9D7R4H1 engines, but was later fitted with General Electric CF6-80C2 engines, with Pratt & Whitney PW4156 or PW4158 engines being introduced in 1986. Other changes include an improved wing featuring a recambered trailing edge, the incorporation of simpler single-slotted Fowler flaps, the deletion of slat fences, and the removal of the outboard ailerons after they were deemed unnecessary on the A310. The variant made its first flight on the 8th of July, 1983, was certified on the 9th of March, 1984, and entered service in June, 1984 with Saudi Arabian Airlines. A total of 313 A300-600s, all versions, have been sold. The A300-600 uses the A310 cockpits, featuring digital technology and electronic displays, eliminating the need for a flight engineer. The FAA issues a single type rating which allows operation of both the A310 and A300-600. 1 A300-600, official designation, A300B4-600, the baseline model of the 600 series. 2 A300-620C, official designation, A300C4-620, a convertible freighter version. 4 delivered between 1984 and 1985. 3 A300-600F, official designation, A300F4-600, the freighter version of the baseline 600. 4 A300-600R, official designation, A300B4600R, the increased range 600, achieved by an additional trim fuel tank in the tail. First delivery in 1988 to American Airlines, all A300s built since 1989, freighters included, R600RS Japan Air System, later merged into Japan Airlines, took delivery of the last new-build passenger A300, an A300-622R, in November 2002. 5 A300-600RC, official designation, A300C4600R, the convertible freighter version of the 600R. 2 were delivered in 1999. 6 A300-600RF, official designation, A300F4600R, the freighter version of the 600R. All A300s delivered between November 2002 and the 12th of July 2007, last ever A300 delivery, were A300-600RFs. A300B10, A310, edit. Main article, Airbus A310. Airbus had demand for an aircraft smaller than the A300. On the 7th of July 1978, the A310, initially the A300B10, was launched with orders from Swissair and Lufthansa. On the 3rd of April 1982, the first prototype conducted its maiden flight and it received its type certification on the 11th of March 1983. Keeping the same 8 abreast cross-section, the A310 is 6.95 m, 22.8 feet, shorter than the initial A300 variants, and has a smaller 219 m, 2,360 square feet, wing, down from 260 m, 2,800 square feet. The A310 introduced a two-crew glass cockpit, later adopted for the A300-600 with a common type rating. It was powered by the same GEC F6-80 or Pratt & Whitney JT9D then PW4000 turbofans. It can seat 220 passengers in two classes, or 240 in all economy, and can fly up to 5,115 mi, 9,540 kilometers, 5,930 mi. It has over-wing exits between the two main front and rear door pairs. In April 1983, the aircraft entered revenue service with Swissair and competed with the Boeing 767-200, introduced 6 months before. Its longer range and ETOPS regulations allowed it to be operated on transatlantic flights. Until the last delivery in June 1998, 255 aircraft were produced, as it was succeeded by the larger Airbus A300-200. It has cargo aircraft versions, and was derived into the Airbus A310 MRTT military tanker forward/transport. A300-600 ST, edit. Main article, Airbus Beluga. Commonly referred to as the Airbus Beluga or Airbus Super Transporter, these 5 airframes are used by Airbus to ferry parts between the company's disparate manufacturing facilities, thus enabling work-share distribution. They replaced the 4 Aerospace Line Super Guppies previously used by Airbus. ICAO code, A3ST. Operators, edit. Main article, list of Airbus A300 operators. As of September 2023, there are 197 A300 family aircraft in commercial service. The 5 largest operators were FedEx Express, 70, UPS Airlines, 52, European Air Transport Leipzig, 23, Iran Air, 11, and Mahan Air, 11. Deliveries, edit. See also, list of Airbus A300 operators. Total 2007, 2006, 2005, 2004, 2003, 2002, 2001, 2019, 99, 1998, 1997, 1996, 1995, 1994, 1993, 1992, 1991. Deliveries 561, 699, 12, 8, 9, 11, 8, 8, 13, 6, 14, 17, 23, 22, 22, 25. 1990, 1989, 1988, 1987, 1986, 1985, 1984, 1983, 1982, 1981, 1980, 1979, 1978, 1977, 1976, 1975, 1974. Deliveries 19, 24, 17, 11, 10, 16, 19, 19, 46, 38, 39, 26, 15, 15, 13, 84. Data through end of December 2007. Accidents and incidents, edit. As of June 2021, the A300 has been involved in 77 occurrences including 24 hull loss accidents causing 1,133 fatalities, and 36 criminal occurrences and hijackings causing 302 fatalities. Accidents with fatalities, edit. The 21st of September 1987, an Egyptair Airbus A300 B4-203 touched down 700 m, 2,300 feet, past the runway threshold during a training flight. The right main gear hit the runway lights and the aircraft collided with an antenna and fences. No passengers were on board the plane, but 5 crew members were killed. The aircraft was written off. This was the first fatal accident of an Airbus A300. The 28th of September 1992, Pier Flight 268, an A300B4 crashed on approach near Kathmandu, Nepal. All 12 crew and 155 passengers died. The 26th of April, 1994, China Airlines Flight 140 crashed at the end of runway at Nagoya, Japan, killing all 15 crew and 249 of 256 passengers on board. The 26th of September, 1997, Garuda Indonesia Flight 152 was on approach to Polonaya International Airport in Medan. The plane later crashed into a ravine in Branabah due to ATC error and apparent haze that covers the country, which limits the visibility. All 234 passengers and crew aboard were killed in Indonesia's deadliest crash. The 16th of February, 1998, China Airlines Flight 676 crashed into a residential area close to CKS International Airport near Taipei, Taiwan. All 196 people on board were killed, including Taiwan's central bank president. 6 people on the ground were also killed. The 2nd of February, 2000, during takeoff, a Lockheed C-130 Hercules owned by the Iranian Air Force lost control and veered off the runway, striking an Airbus A300B2-203 owned by Iran Air, killing 8 people. The 12th of November, 2001, American Airlines Flight 587 crashed into Bell Harbor, a neighborhood in Queens, New York, United States, shortly after takeoff from John F. Kennedy International Airport. The vertical stabilizer ripped off the aircraft after the rudder was mishandled during wake turbulence. All 260 people on board were killed, along with 5 people on the ground. It is the second deadliest incident involving an A300 to date and the second deadliest aircraft incident in the United States. The 14th of April, 2010, Aero Union Flight 302, an A300B4203F, crashed on a road 2 kilometers, 1.2 mi, short of the runway while attempting to land at Monterrey Airport in Mexico. 7 people, 5 crew members and 2 on the ground, were killed. The 14th of August, 2013, UPS Flight 1354, an Airbus A300F4622R, crashed outside the perimeter fence on approach to Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport in Birmingham, Alabama, United States. Both crew members died. Non-fatal hull losses, edit. The 18th of December, 1983, Malaysian Airlines System Flight 684, an Airbus A300B4 leased from Scandinavian Airlines System, SAS, registration OIKA, crashed short of the runway at Kuala Lumpur in bad weather while attempting to land on a flight from Singapore. All 247 people aboard escaped unharmed, but the aircraft was destroyed in the resulting fire. The 24th of April, 1993, an Air Inter Airbus A300B21C was written off after colliding with a light pole while being pushed back at Montpellier. The 15th of November, 1993, an Indian Airlines Airbus A300, registered as VTEDV, crash-landed near Hyderabad Airport. There were no deaths, but the aircraft was written off. The 10th of August, 1994, Korean Air Flight 2033, Airbus A300, from Seoul to Jeju. The flight approached faster than usual to avoid potential wind shear. 50 feet above the runway, the co-pilot, who was not flying the aircraft, decided that there was insufficient runway left to land and tried to perform a go-around against the captain's wishes. The aircraft touched down 1,773 meters beyond the runway threshold. The aircraft could not be stopped on the remaining 1,227 meters of runway and overran at a speed of 104 knots. After striking the airport wall and a guard post at 30 knots, the aircraft burst into flames and was incinerated. The cabin crew was credited with safely evacuating all passengers, although only half of the aircraft's emergency exits were usable. The 17th of October, 2001, Pakistan International Airlines Flight Park 231, registration APBCJ, from Islamabad via Peshawar to Dubai veered off the side of the runway after the right-hand main landing gear collapsed as it touched down. The aircraft skidded and eventually came to rest in sand 50 meters from the runway. The aircraft sustained damage to its right wing structure and its No. 2 engine,